I want to make sure I'm
All right.
recording on this computer just in case there's a problem with my AI.
Well, we got Keisha. Welcome to the family. How are you?
Yay.
Welcome to your first live. Guys, I haven't said it enough, but I wanted to say I am like, it is so crazy seeing all of you guys succeed with the blueprint. All of you guys getting everybody that's on this call that has gotten their first property, they're already on their second property. So if you have gotten a property, you are on number two. And if you haven't gotten a property, you are up next. I promise you that, right? I am result driven and everyone to tell you that. But I want to congratulate every single person on this call. Chuck, Myckelle, you got offers in. Chuck, you got a rehab going through. S.C.A.L.E, I know we waiting to close on the property right now. And I know you working on something else. Number two, I know number two. E, we looking for number two, right? We got offers in. Mimi, we still waiting to hear back on our offer. Marcus, we still waiting to put in an offer. And then we got new ladies on the call today. Welcome to the family. But I am so excited, man. The way this community is growing, I never thought we grow this fast. And I knew everybody was gonna be successful because you learn from the best. So but I just want to say thank you to every single one of you guys for allowing me to be a part of your journey. And it's so humbling. It's such a blessing to sit back and watch you guys succeed how you are. Like it's amazing. So let's keep going. Let's keep winning. We're going to get on this call today. It's going to be a lot of education. It's going to be a lot of information. Write it down because a lot of these things are very, very, very important on your journey, not just for your one property, but for every property. So Myckelle, Chuck, take it away. Let's get it, y'all.
Before we do so, there were some housekeeping rules you wanted to talk about for the Facebook community.
Oh, yes. Well, I wanted to wait till everybody got on. Gosh, thank you for reminding me, Chuck. Guys, I know a lot of you may hate social media. Like me, I can't stand social media, believe it or not. I cannot stand it. Chuck, I know he can't stand it. And S.C.A.L.E, and Emmanuel, I know you can't stand it. Marcus, I know it.
Seems to be a trend right there.
I tell you guys that becoming a real estate investor is really about your team and it's about your community. And the Win Blueprint is a community full of information, a community full of support. So stay tied into this Facebook group, even if it's once a week. I'm not going to text everybody individually and say, hey, we're doing a Zoom tomorrow. You might want to get on. No, it's going to be in the Facebook group. I put properties there, and a lot of you guys have bought properties that I post there. We put a lot of great information there. So even if it's once a week, just stay tied into that Facebook group because it's just a plethora of information. And we're always dropping information there. We're always dropping gems there. We're always supporting there. We're always congratulating there. We're always positive there. So please stay tied into that Facebook group. It is important not only for the support, but for your career because there's so many gems there. And like you guys are asking me questions that I'm dropping in the Facebook group. Like I dropped these answers in the Facebook group 2 days ago. So if you just look and stay tied into that community, you'll see. I already have, my phone goes off all day, every day. Do I love you guys? Absolutely. But there's answers to the questions that you're asking and they're right in our Facebook group 9 times out of 10. All right.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, guys, listen. So we are going to dive right in. My name is Chuck Hawkins. I am one of the mentors for the Win Blueprint, along with our featured speaker for today. We just heard from our gracious benefactor. It took him all of 4 minutes to tell us that he is the greatest, which he is. So the woman that you're about to hear from, do you have a gift to open? We want to make sure that, in case there's a gift.
Gift, you got a gift.
Okay, he has his gift. All right.
Welcome to the new faces. Welcome.
Hey.
Absolutely. The woman that you're about to hear from is absolutely phenomenal. She is someone that has grown to be a friend, somebody that I respect in the business world. She owns multiple businesses And I don't say that to impress you. I say that because they're all profitable. I say that because she is doing this in real time, and you guys are able to witness this. And somebody that actually has allowed me to partner with her on a couple of ventures as well, and we trade ideas and thought processes. And I am excited for the information that you guys are going to get today, because I always tell everybody the real work starts after you buy the property, right? And so to talk about that today, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce Miss Myckelle Williams. Myckelle, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you. That was wonderful. I appreciate that, Chuck. I'm honored to be here, and I know that you guys are still coming in. I'm letting people in as I talk. So, welcome, Lori. Welcome, Kelly, Shelly, Emmanuel, Patricia, Keisha, Marcus, Amarilla, Chanel, Mimi. I'm really excited to have you all here. A lot of you guys know me and have met me even through the rain, the women's real estate. But I
If
love.
you can, I don't not to in- not I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry, Myckelle. Please, guys, if you can, get on video. This is a family. I don't care what you look. I don't care if you got a bonnet on. I don't care if you ain't put your teeth in. Can you get on camera? I love to see the faces. I love to see the
I want
positivity
your
and the
teeth in.
smile. Please start my day with
I,
some smile.
I need your teeth in. No, no, we need teeth. We can do bonnets, but we need teeth. Hey, Lori, what's going
I'm
on?
sorry, Myckelle.
I appreciate you guys having me today. I love the fact that this is such a close community. I have seen us all just interacting on the page in such a positive way. And I know the new people are really impressed with, hey, I'm getting on and I'm feeling part of a community already, even before we've started being personally mentored. So I love it. You guys will be so impressed with the trips that we take. Hopefully you'll all be involved in those as well, because that's even more family and just everybody getting to know each other on a more personal level. But for today, we're going to get into some talking about the financing aspect, because like Chuck said, the work begins after you do the close. And a lot of us think, oh, I got the house, I'm done. Now what? And that's what we don't want you to be worried about. We want you to be able to flow effortlessly right into the financing. A lot of you guys, we've talked about getting and building your business credit, and you have been taking those steps. So if you have been through your mentorship, building your business credit, you're going to want to know how to utilize that, because a lot of us are like, well, I got my cards, I'm ready to go. Okay, how do I get the money? How do I get the money for the rehab? How do I get the money to pay this contractor? And so, some of them don't have credit card machines or aren't able to take the cards the way, the typical standard way. So learning about creative ways to access your capital is very, very important in this group. So that one, you're able to, be able to pay the things that you need to pay, but also you can almost pretty much become your own bank by doing these things. So I'm excited, to get into this. I'm going to share my screen because I put together a little PowerPoint.
Of course you did. You always showing off.
A little PowerPoint, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page with it. So,
Oh my gosh.
yes.
I like it. I like it.
And so if you guys can all see my screen, wave your little hand, but it's going to be, yeah, good. Okay. So unlocking the art to capital funding. And this is what I think is important, because just as I said, creative access to funds is crucial in investing. I just want to, I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to ask questions a couple of times during this speech. So if you guys can just save the questions for the question and answer portion, then we'll be able to move through it pretty quickly, because like we said, we want to be mindful of everybody's time. And a lot of the things that I may cover may be in this presentation. And so you'll be able to get those answers as you go. So just take your notes, write down any questions, and then I'll have 2 question and answer periods that we can go through. So first of all, it starts when we get the house. You're excited, we got the house, we're ready to go. I do want to have you all understand what's called the draw process. And the draw process is pretty much us pulling money out of our loan in order to complete our rehab process. So I did a definition. It's a payment that's made from a lender to a borrower, typically as part of a construction or renovation project, and it may be made at various stages of the project. And it's based on the completion of certain tasks or milestones. So, of course, you guys are doing these rehabs, and the draw is just a way of them to do checks and balances and make sure that they are giving you the money, not up front, so you can spend it all on things that you may not, have on the list of rehabs, but making sure that you spend it exactly how you tell them you're going to spend it. So in the beginning, you guys, when you're writing your letter to your lender, and a lot of us have given you templates so that you can say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and you include that rehab quote from your contractor. They're going to hold you to all of that work that you put on that list. So making sure that you completely are checked in every step of the way so that they can pay you correctly is crucial. So example, you've secured a rehabilitation loan from your lender, and then you chart a map. So you're going to do a draw schedule. It's going to break down the quest into stages, marking each with a specific task and cost, such as demolition, structural repairs, or interior renovations, which is typically what we do. And each time you complete a stage, you tick it off on your map, you signal your lender, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. They usually will send an inspector. Some of them do, some of them don't. Most of them will accept pictures, so you can be fine that way. And then that confirms your progress. And once the work's approved, the lender unlocks the next chest of funds, equipping you for that stage of your journey. So it goes pretty much in this order. You get the loan approval, you apply for the loan. A lot of you who are new will be going through this pretty soon. And you get a rehab loan from the bank or other lending institution. And this loan is specifically for the purpose of repair and improving the property. So a lot of you guys who aren't aware, you can get loans that will cover not only the house purchase, but also your rehab as well. And most of them, what they do is they'll give you 100% or 60 to 70% of your house purchase and then 100% of your rehab. That's what a lot of them typically will do. But there are variations. It varies lender by lender. Our lender, JAG, that we recommend does it a little bit different, and we'll explain that as well. And then project planning is the next step. You guys are you and your contractor, and we have an amazing group of contractors. You guys have met Chuck, you've met, Eddie. You guys have met, what is his name? Ray. What is his name? Eric. The other.
We have Ron, we have Mark, we have Eddie, we have Nate, we have
a lot, you guys. We have some great contractors, and they're ready to go typically. And you guys are going to they're going to be your best friend during this process. So they're as much detail as you can get on what you need is going to help you get paid. Eddie, I know I've used him a lot of times. He likes to write his his rehab quotes on a notebook sheet of paper and then tear it off and take a picture of it and get it to you. He is not trying to be, I'm like, hey, Eddie, can you do it on a spreadsheet? No. So you just have to take it. You just have to take it. You have to do it the way they do it. And guess what? Some lenders will require you to take that quote that your contractor gave you and write it out on a spreadsheet or something detailed and typed out. Not necessarily JAG doesn't do that. They'll accept the notebook sheet of paper, but just be wary or cautious when you're choosing your contractor that they're, pretty thorough in detailing however they detail it, the estimating the costs involved, the labor, separating those things so we can make sure that's shared with your lender. I prefer to share it with my lender when I make the offer and it gets accepted. When I'm putting together my template, I put that rehab quote right in there so they can see what everything's going to cost right up front. The next thing is the draw schedule creation. So basically, your lender will come back to you when they approve you based on that repair plan, and they'll say, hey, this is what we're going to pay you. This is what's going to go towards your rehab. And this is the set amount of money we're going to disperse. So they may say, let's say the house is $50,000 and the rehab is 40. They may say, hey, I'll give you 60 up front, and then the other 20 or 30 or 25 or whatever we're going to give you, we're going to break that into stages. And that's every stage you complete, we're going to give you money out of that loan. So in the beginning, your loan payment will be less. And then as you do the rehab and draw more money out of your loan, then it's the amount that you pay monthly will increase. Okay. So for example, there may be a draw for demolition, a different one for framing, another one for lending. It's all determined on you, your lender, and your contractor. The next stage, we get the work started. That's the fun part, is starting to watch that project go from a hot mess to something beautiful. And it's exciting, but as well as it's costly. So you got to start doing the work. You got to start hiring the right contractors. Always make sure you have qualified contractors that are licensed in certain areas. You know, sometimes you have to get permits pulled. You guys make sure you recognize that. In case you have electrical work, you may have to get an electrician. You may have to get a plumber. Eric knows amazing people that he can refer you to in those cases. I've had cases where, you know, if the electricity hasn't been cut on in a year, especially in Cleveland, they'll make you go pull a permit and get a licensed electrician to do it. And a lot of our contractors aren't licensed electricians, so you'd have to go find one and pay them separately. So it's all about making sure that you have that in mind and know what the scope of work is going to be, so that you know exactly how much that rehab is going to cost you, including any additional work that may be done on the side. And then here we go. The next step is draw request. After every stage, you're going to submit a draw request. I'll show you how to do that. And it's just asking for the next installment of loan. Usually that means, you guys, that you're going to pay upfront for that work. And then after it's done, they will reimburse you. So you're not just going to be like, oh, Eddie, you're going to wait until the lender pays me and then I'll give you your check. It doesn't work like that. Eddie will walk right off. Let me tell you about Eddie. He'll walk off the job if you don't pay him Friday morning after he submits his invoice Thursday night. So you come on there Friday and Eddie will be gone, guys. So you just got to make sure you have a plan in place of the timeline and say, hey, Eddie, can we work out when the payments are going to be paid, or Ron, or whoever your contractor is? When do you prefer to be paid, so that you can make sure that you have your installments lined up correctly? Because otherwise, what happens if you pay one or put out a draw request that doesn't get paid before your next payment's due to Eddie or Ron, and then that doesn't get paid, and there's a delay in the way it's done, and now you're down $20,000 of your own money waiting for a draw. So you have to schedule these timelines, make sure that your contractor and you are all simpatico. You guys are on the same page about how things are going to get done. Okay, and the final one is the inspection, because at the end, the lender will often send an inspector to verify the work's been completed, or, you know, in Jag's case, they'll ask for pictures. So the inspector's job is to protect their lender's interests, but they also will ask for multiple pictures. So I would suggest asking your contractors, like let's say they say, hey, we're going to put a new tub in, we're going to put a new toilet and shower. Ask them for the pictures of everything they do that's listed on that quote. And that way, when you turn in your quote and you turn in what was done, you can show the pictures at the same time. That's the best way to effectively get your money in a timely manner, because they're going to want to see them. I've had them be like, delaying my money and then say, hey, we need pictures of the backyard. We need pictures of the garage. Oh my gosh. So you just make sure you're always taking thorough pictures. So at the end of the day, and having your contractor take them, so that at the end of the day, there's no delays on your end. Because the finish line, what did you say, Eric?
Over deliver on that. Like
I do Turo. You guys know I do Turo cars, and they always say take a picture before they get them. I take 47 pictures. I take a picture of every corner, every crevice of that car, because if you don't have a picture showing the before, they won't pay on the after. And it's pretty similar to draws. So take 100. You go out when we go to Cleveland and you see your houses, you go take pictures too. If you're going through the rehab process, take pictures of the front, the sides, the back. Don't feel like that's too many pictures, like this is crazy. But at the end of the day, you may get all the way back to your state and your lender be like, and the rehab's finished, your contractor's at a new property, and the lender's like, okay, I need a picture of that back porch. And you're like, oh, I don't have it. Maybe I can call Eddie or Ron and see if they'll go back over there. And they're like, nah, I don't have time till next Tuesday. So you're not there, and you haven't taken the adequate pictures. And so now you got to wait another 3 or 4 days to get your money. So what I would say, when you guys we go out to Cleveland, we take our trips, take pictures of your property. Be very mindful that it's up to you to get your money. Okay.
Absolutely.
So the next one, funds disbursement. If the inspection is satisfactory, then they will release the funds as per the draw request. I'm going to show you guys shortly how to do that. But these funds are used to pay the contract. You can't use it for nothing else, guys. That's pretty much what they're giving it to you for. And you don't want to, because the more money you pull out, the more interest you're paying. You're paying a higher note every dime you pull out. So you want to keep your costs as low as possible. So when you do sell the house, you get more of a profit. So if you didn't need the work done, don't take the draw, I would suggest.
Absolutely.
Okay. Project completion. That's it. This is like where we're headed. This is where the money, you know, where we're moving on towards. The completion of the work, requesting all the draws, inspecting and dispersing continues until it's done. And there's usually one final payment at the end once the total work is done. And at this point, you want to typically sell it or flip it. And then that loan is repaid out of the proceeds. So your private money lender is paid off. You guys are done. You paid for everything. And now you got a brand new rehabbed, beautiful home. Okay, so this is just an example. If you guys want to take a picture of this, just to kind of, I don't need to go through every single one of these, but it's just showing how typical lenders will do the draw schedule. Just based on what we just talked about. Sometimes you can do demolition and cleanup first, structural and exterior work second, interior framework and systems next. You're going to get $10,000 for each one of these, maybe 15. Whatever you spent, you can, as long as you have money in your draw, and you can ask your lenders if you forgot, well, how much do I have left? And they'll write you back, hey, you got, 37,000 left. So, you got to divide that up wisely. Okay. And then at the end, you might get your final $5,000 for any landscaping or anything you added in. You can add those things into your loan if you want. You can add whatever you want to. It's not that they'll accept it all the time, but you can put everything you want to put in there that you want rehabbed. And if you get the money for it, that's amazing. That's great. So some important things to know is that the draw process varies between lenders. Every lender is not alike, you guys. Just because one lender did it a certain way doesn't mean another. Patrick, we have a great lender named Patrick. He pretty much will do, about 65 to 75% of your house up front, but then he'll pay 100% on the rehabs on the back end most of the time. So you'll have to bring money to the closing table. But then you got JAG, they'll pay for both up front a lot of times. And so you might get money at the closing table, or you might get a majority of everything paid for up front. And then they'll release it in draws at the end. So it's just, every lender is different. It's just you and your lender negotiating the best terms for you and what works for both of you. Like I said, some may release funds up front, others for completed work. Some even will they'll pay you up front, and then you show them the work's, done later. So it just depends. You guys, we ask you we'll give you lenders as well, but eventually we want everybody to branch off into your own states or your own areas. And so you're going to want to learn how to pick a good lender. So this hopefully is setting the stage and the foundation for you to go out there in your own state and learn how to find lenders and ask these important questions. Hey, what are your interest rates? What do you do up front? How does the draw process work for you? So you want to be able to vet your lenders in this way so that you don't make a decision up front, oh, he's giving me $60,000, and you don't think about how the rest of this is working. And so at the end of the day, you didn't get enough for your whole rehab project, and you're out of $30,000, $40,000, and you got a high note. So you want to make sure you do this correctly and ask all the pertinent questions, okay? Yeah. So that's bringing me to my second point, which I just kind of said. The interest rate, fees, and other loan terms vary between lenders. So it's important to shop around and understand the terms. When I first started with Eric, I shopped several of the people that we used. We used Jag, we use Nyana, he knows me. I'm going to be like, well, I'm going to look at some other people too. So I want to always make sure like I'm getting the best value for my money. And you should too. Just because we're giving you a contract or giving you a lender Doesn't mean you have to go with them. You can always say, you know what, let me look up another. I have a cousin in that area, and matter of fact, that was my thing. I had a cousin who owned a loan company, so it's like, let me shop him too. He gave me the worst rate, amazingly enough, but
But guys, when you do that really quick, Myckelle, when you guys do that, like going into your first project, I want to be a part of that. So I want you to stay within the Win blueprint. Use the people that I have. I've vetted these people. I've done this for the ladies and gentlemen that don't know. I've done this since I was 19 years old. I've done this for a very, very long time at a high level successfully. So I've vetted these people, every single one of these people that you guys deal with. So please, your first project, please follow the Win Blueprint. Use the people that are in our program because it makes it easier for me to hold your hand and walk you through the process. And that's really what I want to do. I want to be there to make sure you make less mistakes and spend less money. So just all these people, I have vetted myself. I used them myself numerous times. After you do it the first time and you feel like you got it, have at it. Build your team. We're going to teach you that too. Sorry, Myckelle.
Yeah. And real quick, I'll just piggyback on that.
okay.
Everybody that has followed the blueprint on their first deal has been successful. We have, in full transparency, the people that tend to go left because they know what they know, have had extreme hurdles. And so while we are going to teach you how to fish, we want to make sure that you follow the first step so that you can see the success. We want you to have a return on your investment. Follow the first step. And like Eric said, at that point, we'll show you how to build your team. We'll show you how to go find your own lenders and all that good stuff. But please just stick with the first blueprint. Get your first property under your belt so that all of these things that Myckelle is talking about right now, you at least get to go through the motions once or twice.
Mm-hmm. And also make sure you put Eric on all of your emails with your lenders, because he loves to be here. You know, everything that's going on, he wants to be a part of it. And so you want to make sure he's CC'd in all those emails, because you don't want to be like, well, I put an offer in, or I did this and that. And he's like, well, I don't know anything about it. And then he's on the outside and you're not giving, full disclosure. He's not understanding what's happening. You got to go backtrack and show him these things. So every email, put Eric on the CC. If that's your mentor you're using, put him on your CC, and then you'll be able to make sure that he's involved in every step of the way too. The third thing is that it's crucial to keep the renovation timeline as short as possible. I think all of us have great contractors in this team. Eddie, I love using because his is like 4 weeks. Amazingly enough, Eddie's like 4 to 5 weeks, but he's very busy. So it's hard to always get Eddie. So you may have to use anyone else, but most of the people that we use are great with speed and diligence as well. And so you want to be doing that, because at the end of the day, the longer it takes, the more mortgage payments you're going to be paying out. And that cuts into the final profit. So you're wanting to get this done. Proper planning, timely work, and accurate draw requests will help keep your project on track and not result in unnecessary delays. Okay. And I just kind of did a JAG draw request process, because mostly we use JAG. Like if you're using somebody else, it's a little bit different. But JAG, they use private money lenders. Everyone's different on who your lender is. But it's a 15% interest rate, and they do the interest only loans. So you're paying interest only every month on their loans. They also charge a fee. So if you use JAG, you're more than likely going to pay somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 to use their services, which they usually ask for upfront to go ahead and start getting your lenders in place. It's higher than conventional loans, of course, because it's a private money lender. Individual deals vary. So don't get together and go, well, they only charge me this much, or they charge me this much. It varies between houses, between your experience as it's like if I bought 2 or 3 homes, then they're going to give you probably a different rate than they would if you just bought your first home and you're a new investor. They decide, they get with their lenders and decide how much they feel would be best for them. They're looking at what's best for them. Of course, a lot of times they'll put the ARV out there, pay you at sometimes at closing, and then they'll have a percentage set aside for draws. Of course, everyone's situation is different, but they're not released until photos and invoices fully filled out and submitted. And your invoice can be and I would always do an invoice. I always create an invoice because also when you're going to do Plastiq, you need one. So it's always a good idea to just go ahead and do an invoice. And we're going to talk about Plastiq next, but they do require invoice. So I go ahead and just submit all that together at one time. So I don't have to do it twice. And the draws can take 7 to 10 business days. If you guys see somewhere that is 3, disregard that. They're much more busy now than they used to be. So it could take 7 days, business days. It could take a little longer depending on how much work you have done in getting the proper paperwork and the pictures and everything in. I would always just understand that the process is gonna, the better you get, the faster the process will get. And then usually they give you your draws in the form of a check. You can go pick it up at the office if you're in town, if they say it's ready, or they'll ACH it into your bank account. And just as a note, every time you withdraw funds, your monthly payments will increase. So in the beginning, they may say, hey, your payment is $700 a month, and you're all excited, jumping up and down. But then you pull out 2 or 3 draws and you're like, why is my payment $1,000 now? They're sending me an invoice for $1,000 because you pulled money out. And so it's going to go up every time you take payments. So that's JAG's process. And you guys can take a picture of this if you like, but this is what I do when I get money from JAG. I call Mike, I email pictures to his phone. I send him an email and JAG Enterprises an email, and that's what he usually tells me to do to get my money faster. So every item that's on your rehab quote, you want to go ahead and send here, so that Mike can get it done quicker. He's head over the draw process.
If you send the email, make sure you follow it up with a call.
Yeah, I do that. That's why I put the number here to call Mike. I call him and let him and just make sure that he received them. So every time you send everything, I'll call Mike, say, hey, did you receive it? I send this to where he said to send this as his cell phone number too, and I email them all here. It's just like covering all the bases.
Correct.
Perfect.
Okay.
Before we jump into the Q&A, Myckelle, can we double check the waiting room and see if there's anyone there?
Yeah, I don't think anyone has come in, but let me look.
Okay.
See. Yeah, no one's come in. It usually
Awesome.
show me even when so does anyone have any questions about anything we talked about so far? Let me see if I see anything in the chat.
You got all these investors, they know what they're doing. Look at them. Everybody got it. Everybody got it. No questions.
Hold on. Yep. So I got it. You guys, I'm not sure. I think a lot of people have said things in the chat.
No
Um,
questions.
So that's good. But if you guys, somebody said, can she email the presentation to us? We're going to record it. So you guys should be able to look at it later.
Crystal has a question. You can come off of mute, Crystal.
What'd you say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now we can.
Hey, everybody. I have a question because Chuck was putting this in the chat about the invoice creator, and I just want to make sure I understand. That's like, so you would take, for example, what the contractor completed and put it in an organized invoice, attach the photos and send that to the lender. Is that what that's for?
Correct. So
Okay.
one of the things that I've learned is that along with what Myckelle and Eric are saying, is that the over communication is key. And so sometimes when we submit our draw requests, you want to make sure that they see everything that we've sent. I even include a picture of the payment, a screenshot of the payment, just to make sure that any questions that they could possibly have are answered up front. And so that breakdown on that invoice allows them to see exactly where everything went. And then I include that along with the pictures, the link to the pictures, the spreadsheets that Myckelle mentioned. I just can include everything because I don't want no questions. And then on the back end, it also helps for tax purposes on the back end, right? So when we're done this time next year, where everybody's starting to pay that uncle that didn't know any of us like, we can have our paperwork in order. And I think that part is going to be key too.
Okay. Okay, thanks. I had another question, but it left. It'll come back. Thank you.
Well, anybody else have any questions? Because we're going to move on into plastic. So I want to make sure that we covered the draw process and you guys are thoroughly educated on that. Of course, you may forget some things and we'll walk you through as you're being mentored. You're going to get walked through anyway on this again while you're going through the process. But this is just kind of an overview so you can get an understanding of what to start looking for and how to set yourself up for success in advance before you buy the house. Okay.
And just know that a private lender, there's a private lender that you guys are being able to experience, even him giving you this opportunity because we are in this program, we are in this community. Like for most people, most investors with zero experience, a private lender is not even considering you at these type of rates. They're going to say, hey, I need the 25, 30, I need some skin in the game, and I need big skin in the game, 20, 30%. So in this situation, we don't have to come up with that 20, 30% up front. We just pay their fee that they want to get paid up front, which is generally 3%, right? Alicia, I think it's 3% up front, and then a legal fee for like $600. So this is huge for you new investors to be able to take advantage of our private lender, our private money lender. So please don't take it for granted.
Yeah, because they usually love the fact that we're a network and they know we're going to have more people coming. So they'll be like, okay, they're more likely to approve our requests because they know we got people coming. So any other questions?
This is real different. Like JAG is different than hard money lenders. And Eric and I had that discussion. And one of the things is because we're part of Eric's team, they tend to just go through a really high level approval process because they know that he has a team set up already and that this project under his guidance is going to be successful, right? With hard money lenders, you have 7 months of paying this loan, plus your company 5% down, and then how many have you done before? And then but I think that's the difference between experience and the experience I've had.
So I'm guessing she said that too, that we, because we're part of this team, they're going to give us a higher level.
Yeah, the mic is going in and out.
So pretty much what we said, because we're part of this network and we come to them, they're going to give us, definitely looking to get higher rates of approval than standard. They want to work with Eric and have the people coming in that he's bringing in. And so that you have a greater chance than you do going out there and getting on your own. Now, once you're a seasoned investor, even if you're with us seasoned and you got, a few properties under your belt and you go with anyone else, now you have a portfolio. So you're getting good approval rates on your own as well. Okay.
Yeah. Are they nationally sort of based or they're local to?
They're local to our Ohio market.
So they pretty much ask you also to have an LLC in Cleveland as well, or Ohio, I'm sorry, as well. And so you'll have to go to the LLC, the Secretary of State in Ohio, and you'll have to do what's called a foreign entity LLC. So it's just saying, hey, I still have a company here in my own home state, but foreign LLC means I'm doing business in Ohio as well. And they accept that. But that won't make you have to change your name or anything. If you don't do it that way, you have to change your name. Okay. Keisha has a question because she raised her hand.
Thank you, Myckelle, for doing this. So how far in advance, when you are in the process of closing a house, do you need to start creating this process so that you have money for closing and then renovations and all of that?
Well, originally when you put in your Neil's usually in JAG, they're like, hey, when you first put in and you got an approved offer, as soon as you have an approved offer, that's when I send a template to Neil. I designed a template. I think several people have used it. And the template is just saying, here's what I have. Here's what the house is. Here's the ARV. I put pictures, I put comps. I put, the rehab quote attached to that, et cetera, things that they need to know. And then once you have an approved contract, you attach that contract also, and you send that over to the lender. I try to do it like a pitch deck so it's easy for them to understand. So you're not, writing 5 pages of things that they have to scroll through. They need to know quickly and by looking at it whether this is a good deal or not. And so then you go ahead and give that to them. And then usually they'll come back within, I'd say 3 to 4 business days, maybe, with whichever lender Neil got to accept your offer. And then they'll tell you all the terms, all the conditions and everything right then. So that's kind of where where you're at. You can ask any questions at that time about the terms that you have, but pretty much you'll know everything pretty right, before closing.
We have one more question with Nicole, and then we're about 15 minutes, so we want to make sure we get to see Plastiq as well.
Plastiq. Hey, Nicole. Oh, you're muted.
You're on mute.
You got to unmute. You got to unmute your phone. You got to unmute. It's still muted. Maybe if we can't hear, you can type your in a chat. Yeah, just type it in the chat. All right, she says she's going to type it in the chat. All right, so we'll take that last one. I'm trying to see if she goes ahead and types it now. Does anybody else have any questions? I guess we're going to move on. Chuck, when she sends that question, can you
I got you.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and get going with this. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Okay, question just came in. Eric, do you want to take this one? For the first time investors, when do you get funding? If this is your first house.
First time investors, when do you get funding?
Yeah, so if I'm understanding the question, Eric, I think it's when do you know either how much your loan is approved for, including the draw, and that comes when you submit your offer to Neil, in this case, if we're doing JAG. But Eric, feel free to dive in.
For first time investors, when do you get funding if this is your first house? So I assume she's talking about when we're going for a loan approval, right? So after you have a executed contract, meaning signed by both parties, the seller and the buyer, that goes to Neil, and Neil will tell you at that point if he's what your conditions are and the amount that you're getting. So we don't go and get pre-approved prior to having offers put on houses. Every deal is looked at as its own deal. And because we're not looking at you as a person, he's looking at the asset. Every deal has to be submitted to him with an executed contract so you can get funding. So we don't just say, hey, Neil, I'm looking at this house, send me funding on it. Hey, Neil, I'm looking at this house, send me funding on it. Like doing that, you tend to get to the bottom of the list for him because he wants to fund deals, and he has our whole community and everyone else. So once you have an executed contract, we already know in this community that you're 99% going to get a loan with our lenders. So at that point, we'll find out what we're going to get for that particular.
I was saying earlier, Neil asked for an executed contract. So you send the purchase agreement to him along with the request. So it doesn't matter if you're just looking at houses. He's not going to sit there and find a funding person for you just based on, oh, I like this house. What do you think, Neil? He's going to say, well, get a contract on it, send it to me, send me, the lender request, and then we'll talk to some lenders and see what they want to do. So really, until you get that executed offer and they've signed it, you've signed it, it's ready to go, you're not going to get approval for funding yet. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah.
He said that did answer the question. We had one more in the chat for the draw process. Who decides the draw schedule, the lender or myself? And I responded, typically the lender will tell you how much you have available for your draw, and you and the contractor will work on a payment schedule.
Done.
We
That's right.
are 16 minutes in. Let's get to Plastiq. Please hold your questions till the end, guys.
We definitely want to get all the questions answered too, but I know we want to also be mindful of you guys' time. So let's go to the next section, which is accessing credit card capital. So it's just another, we talk about creative methods of accessing funds. Of course, PMLs are one, but also, a lot of us have those high, I started off with over 100,000 in business credit. And since I've grown to about 180. And so it's like, okay, let's see how I can access this to be my own private money lender. And it's a wonderful thing that we're able to do because a lot of people have these credit cards, but you're like, I don't know how to do it. So this is the part that is part 2. So accessing your credit card capital with Plastiq. I don't know if any of you have started or have worked on it, but especially for the new people here, you can go ahead and get this set up now. And as you start getting your business credit cards in line, you can start adding them to Plastiq so you can be ready. I've learned that Plastiq can get tricky and they can also make it so that you think you're adding 5 cards and it all of a sudden says we can't find your card. It just doesn't exist. You can only do 3 a day. So I found out that's a really good trick to it. 3 a day, and then you can do 3 tomorrow and 3 the next day. And then they'll accept it for some reason. Anytime you go over 3, for some reason, they kick it out. So let's get into it. I don't know if I can do this.
People and businesses everywhere use Plastiq to pay for virtually anything using their credit card, even where cards aren't accepted. It's so fast and easy. We'll explain how it works in less than 60 seconds. Ready? First, you tell us who you want to pay, how much you want to pay, and enter your payment information. Next, Plastiq charges your credit or debit card. Finally, we send your recipient a check, ACH, or wire transfer, and you rack up points from your credit card reward program. Don't forget, Plastiq also offers global payments, the ability to pay in cash from your bank account, and more. Take 2 minutes and make a payment with Plastiq today at plastiq.com. Plastiq. It's the smarter way to pay.
Okay. A little overview, you guys. That's just helping you guys to understand. So what is Plastiq? It's a system that allows you to use credit cards to make payments to vendors, contractors, businesses. Also, you can pay out of your bank account as well, like they said. So it's very convenient. It's easy. Of course, there are fees involved, which we'll discuss. But in the top corner, I wrote the website so you guys can kind of get some practice in there. So www.plastiq.com. And it's called Plastiq. I'm sorry, I keep saying plastic. It's a little fancier than I'm saying it, but Plastiq.com. All right, so there are subscription levels and there's a free version, which just access to short-term financing also, because they do have a short-term financing program. You can pay with a credit card, vendor management, etc. Or they have one that will give you unlimited users, invoice data capture. There's just a lot more going on here, bill management, and the $119 a month. I would just say scratch out all these and go for the free version because that's the one I use. But, I'm just going to show you all your available options. So what cards does it accept? It accepts Visa, Discover, MasterCard, and just now this year it started accepting American Express. So it's pretty much covering all the cards that we have. And when you're getting business credit, you pretty much get these ones. So those are the ones. But there are fees involved, everyone. So just know that it's going to be 2.9. And don't forget, that's on top, you're pulling money off your card. So you also have an interest rate on your card as well. So take that into account, that you're paying them 2.9, but you're also going to be paying interest on your credit card.
So we're hoping you're using 0% credit cards for this.
Yeah, those are the ones you want to access first, are your 0% interest credit cards, of course. But that will help you just to understand that these fees are. Now, there is a thing called short-term financing where they would give you a lump sum of money. It's like a loan, and that's the rates for the loans, 2.75 up to 10, which is not bad, I guess. It's better than some major loans out there. Also, you can deliver it in certain ways. There's an ACH, so you want to deliver it by check. Of course, that'll take longer. You can also do it by wire transfer, which is generally up to $39. And they do same day payments and overnight checks. Just know that when you first start using it, you're not really able to do that wire that fast. When you first use it with your contractor the very first time, they won't do it the next day. But once that vendor is approved and you've used them more than once, generally you can get it faster after that. So it's just that first time that sometimes they'll take 2 days or 3 days for the wire. But after that, you'll get it the next day usually. So there's other features that are really cool on Plastiq. You can invite team members. So if you have a corporation with your sister, like S.C.A.L.E. and Amaryllis, and you're like, hey, we want to be able to do this together and join our bank, with our LLC account, and we want to be able to both sign and do these things. You can have team members where you can both use it together. It'll let you assign beneficiaries. So if anything happens, you're covered. And it will merge with your accounting software, such as QuickBooks. So if you need to do that, it helps you with bookkeeping. Next day wire is available, which is really cool. I've found that that's really helpful. Rather than going through your bank account, you don't have access to credit cards, but you can do next day wire, and it will wire it to their account. Literally wire it from your credit card, which is nice. And then they have mobile access. So you're also able to do it on the go. I've been in another country and had to get on the app and send money. So you're able to do that. This is also, and I'm not saying to do it, but just something that they do provide. You can do from Plastiq, you can qualify for a line of credit if you need it, and you choose short-term financing. Those are the rates, and they generally do it 90 days. So if you have a large sum of money coming maybe, and you just need 90 days or 60 or 30 days to pay it off really quick, but you need money quickly for something, you can typically go through Plastiq, and a lot of times you can get that for that rate. It's a lower rate, 2.75 up to 10. So the steps are, and we're running out of time, and I would go through each one with you, but if you want me to go through them one-on-one, you can inbox me, and I'll set up an appointment to walk you through this as well. But now we're kind of running short of time, so I'm just going to tell you the steps. But when you get on Plastiq, you set up your account, and it will just give you the option to put all your LLC information in there. Of course, they do verify that you're a company and a business. And you got to make sure also your vendors are verifiable, because, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the next step, you're going to add all your cards to your wallets. You're going to get prepared to pay. So like I said, you can do 3 cards a day. So I would suggest if you have 10 cards, it's going to take you about 3 or 4 days to do that. So I would just, take my time and get that ready while you're waiting on your loan to come through or things like that while you're setting up. I would do this in advance, just so you're ready when it's time to make that first payment. Then you add a vendor. You're going to get an invoice from your vendor. You're going to ask your contractor to give you an invoice. Now, some of them don't do it, like Eddie, for example. So I create the invoice. And what I do is I go to Microsoft Word and I just go to invoicing and I make my own invoice. I put all their information on there, their address, everything. I write down everything they're going to do and put an amount at the bottom, and that's your invoice. You can create your own invoices if your vendor won't do it. And you got to make sure you have their address. And on the side, you want to make sure you have their EIN number, and also email and phone number, because that's all going to be asked when you add them as a vendor. So when you get ready to make the payment, you'll have a box that says make payment. Kind of like this picture here, you'll see where it says payments. All your vendors will be listed and people you've paid. And you can just click on the left box that says vendors, and then you're able to make a payment. And then it'll show you like, do you want to do it by ACH? Do you want to do it by wired? You know, and wire, as we talked about, the fees are a little higher. But yeah, and then you track your payment. That's important too, because a lot of times they do come back to you with an email saying, hey, you are not fully, your payment's not, it's on hold. And we need to this information. And if you don't go check your emails a lot, and if you never check your emails, you're wondering 3 and 4 days later why your vendor's saying, hey, I haven't got paid. And it may be in your spam. You didn't add them as an email safe person, like Plastiq support at plastiq.com. You didn't add them. So it went to your spam. And then later you look and it said, hey, we need your the LLC of your vendor. And you could have done that 3 days earlier. So now you're 3 days later getting paid. So tracking the payment is important. If you haven't seen anything in a day or two, start looking through your emails and start making sure that you're checking your emails daily. All of you guys, if you have LLC, should have a business email that you check regularly because this is a business. So daily, you know, I'd say 3-4 times a day, you should be checking your emails just to make sure that you're always on top of everything. You know, if you get paid or don't get paid, it's going to be on you. Right. So at the bottom, they do require an invoice, like I said, and they require proof of an LLC for a vendor. So you might as well get all that ready. Just ask your vendor, your contractor, to go ahead and send you their EIN and their LLC information, or their incorporation document or whatever, because Plastiq's going to want to see that. Or they'll ask for a website. So if you have a website, if your vendor has a website, that's good enough. As long as they can see that website, they're good with that as well. And I already said about the safe list to make sure it doesn't go to spam. So these are some of the problems that you can encounter when you're using Plastiq. It could say pending, and sometimes it'll say that for days. So you have to stay on them sometimes to make sure that you get paid, because they will contact you via email and request additional documentation. They want to make sure it's a legit company, you know, that you're not just paying your own company around, you know, on the back end. So they're going to be very meticulous in that. And if you do certain things like that, you can get in trouble. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen. They won't send funds until they've determined that it complies with their terms of service. When you go on Plastiq, I would suggest reading their terms of service to make sure that you don't have any problems getting paid. And if it shows pending, I would also write to them too. They're going to send you an email, but you can also write to them if you haven't heard anything at accountservices@plastiq.com and just say, hey, you know, I've been waiting a couple days. This is the invoice number. This is what's going on. And they're very quick to respond. I've noticed usually they'll respond that day or the next day, just saying, hey, we're needing this. And maybe you missed that email, so you can go ahead and get on top of it. This is your business. This is your company. So it's on you to get in there every day and just make sure your money's coming and it's coming on time. Okay. And then this last is declined payments. They have declined payments. And if they do that, they will refund you your money immediately. And some of the reasons that they will decline your payment is, and these are the following reasons. If it's a credit card bill you're just trying to pay, if it's drug paraphernalia and controlled substances, if it's a collection agency you're trying to pay, you know, they're not just letting you pay anybody. And you're paying yourself. So if you say, if it says your name LLC, you know, they're not doing that. So a lot of people are like,
really quick, if you guys ever try to pay one company of yours to another company of yours, I did that and I learned the hard way about 18 years ago. American Express will still not give me a card till this day. I had $100,000 line of credit, and then I had a $30,000 card with them. And I tried to pay one LLC to my other LLC, and they shut down both accounts. And I had to pay them on demand because of that. So don't ever make the mistake of trying to pay one LLC to another LLC.
And
very important.
As far as like
What'd you say?
Person.
I just said, please don't do that.
Don't do it.
It sounds good in the moment. I know you got a deadline. You got something you're trying to figure out. Please reach out to one of us so that we can walk you through that. Do not.
No, just don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
I learned that day.
Don't do it.
I cried. I learned that day.
Okay, so person-to-person transfers, they don't allow, and trust or retirement funds. So you can't just put money in your 401k. So if they've fallen in that category and they're denied and declined, your account can come under review. You can also lose your rights to even work with them. So I would be very careful of the way that you operate with them, because this is a benefit. This is a great benefit to be able to pull money off of your accounts. You just don't want to do anything inadvertently to mess that up. All right, guys. So if you guys would like, I can do on a separate time, if anyone wants to walk through just setup of Plastiq and stuff, like if you're having that, where you want somebody to show you how to set it up and do all that, I can do that at another time if enough people ask. But we didn't have time to do it this time, but that's just the step. So hopefully guys wrote that down and you're aware. And of course, we're going to work with you on getting these things set up too, because we want you to succeed in every way. But do you guys have any questions about anything about that Plastiq part?
I want to also add that, just so everyone knows, you can't get a loan to create a loan. So like Plastiq, you can't take the money off your card to now start your loan with JAG or pay their fees up front. I mean, you can't do that in any state, so they're not going to allow you to do that either. You cannot get a loan to create a loan. So just know that you have to have that money in an account somewhere.
And matter of fact, JAG won't even allow it. Like when you try to click wire, they won't even allow it. It will go straight to, I think, ACH or whatever. So you can only pay them that way. You're not even able to do it when you try to click on it. That button won't even highlight. So does anybody have any other questions?
Thank you so much for doing this. It's really helpful.
You're welcome.
What's the sweet spot for using Plastiq? Some areas where you like, it's perfect for.
Well, for me, like any extra things that came up, because you can do the rehab and stuff pops up all the time. For instance, I was doing one of my properties and all of a sudden my neighbor called, the neighbor from the property called, said, hey, parts of your chimney are falling off onto my car, And I was like, oh my gosh. So I didn't, have any idea. That wasn't in my rehab quote. We didn't put chimney in there, but I had to go get a quote on a chimney now. And so that was about $7,000-8,000. And so guess what? I could pay that vendor really quick to go ahead and get my chimney done, or something unexpected that could come up. I pay Eddie usually through Plastiq. My rehab people, I'll pay him through Plastiq. He understands the process more now because Eric has gotten on him, but I know he used to be like, I'm gonna submit your invoice Thursday night and I want to pay Friday. But now we've talked to him about, hey, I need your invoice by Tuesday if you want me to pay you by Friday, because I'm paying you through Plastiq and it's going to take them 3 business days to get that money to you. He wants to get paid, of course, so he's going to argue with you, but he'll do it. And so then he'll send you that invoice early, and then you can go ahead and get it started on Tuesday, so that by that Friday when he comes in, he can get his access to his money.
Crystal, let me answer Crystal's question. I assume you still consider the utilization rate when using these cards. These are business cards, Crystal, so you should not be using your personal cards at all. Like, once you get your business credit set up, guys, I want you to stop using your personal credit altogether. Like, I want you to be in a place where your personal credit is marinating, chilling, and you are just growing business credit. And let me tell you how I've done that. I started, let's say I had a 25, and I started with the company that I recommend you guys use. I started with a $20,000 card from Chase. I used that card. I pay that card off within 6 months while I have 0%. Then I call Chase and say, hey, let me get an increase. And I've had this card now for probably 9 or 10 years. Let me get an increase. So they give me the increase, that 20 becomes 40 or 60. And then I do it again. I rinse and repeat, pay it off again. Then in a year, ask for another increase. Now that $20,000 card is turned into a $125,000 card, one card. So we want to stop using our personal credit altogether. once you start building your business credit. So the utilization is not that big of a deal, Crystal, because it's not going to affect our personal credit at all. I mean, there are a couple of cards that you do have that are business cards that will affect your personal credit, and those are Capital One and Discover. They will report to your personal credit. So I recommend against them unless you really, really need them. Don't go closing any of them if you have them, but I recommend against them. So hopefully that answers your question.
When I was first starting, I had built to 100,000 of business credit, but I had over 120,000 of personal, and I had 1% utilization rate. All of my balances were paid off. So what that meant was I can continually get more business credit. So I kept it always paid off so I can apply for whatever. And they're like, oh, she doesn't use her cards. And then they constantly gave me nicer cards. Like he said, I had started off with Bank of America, like 15,000, and now I'm up over 50,000 with just Bank of America, because just getting the, but we'll talk about business credit on another show. But that's just like your utilization. You don't want to use your personal, because that helps you get more business credit.
One question on that. When they increase your limits, your business credit card limits, are they giving you an extension of the 0%? Okay.
No,
Yeah,
no, absolutely not. I'm not a business credit pro. I am a real estate investor, but I will tell you there are ways to get that that 0% to another card. You just got to talk to that bank, and they sometimes will get you a new card that will now give you 0%.
yeah, because that's a good one. And sometimes,
and also, a business credit sounds amazing. Like, we make it, it's very positive. It's great to have that additional funding. But if you cannot manage funds, leave it alone. If you cannot manage the credit cards, leave it alone. Learn how to manage before you jump into the business credit arena. Make sure you are managing your finances. And all of you guys are, but I want to put that disclaimer out there, because people just think, hey, I'm gonna go get this business credit and I'll run it up. And now you're looking around like, well, who's about to pay these big payments, right? Because those payments are coming no matter if you got a property paying for itself or you don't. You got you got insurance, you got taxes, you got mortgages, you got to pay those. And if you max out those credit cards and you're looking around like who's paying them now, you're in a lot of trouble. So first, learn and know that you are managing your cards, right?
Yeah. And I will add, when it comes to our lenders, especially the ones that are under the this WIN blueprint, say for instance, Neil or Jag, you want to remember that you're not just doing your LLC a disservice if you don't manage your properties and your cards together, but you're also doing the WIN blueprint a disservice. Remember, these are relationships that that Eric has in place that are allowing us to build actual legacies. And so if we get to a point where we want to run up a card and run off, that will affect the next person's loan, right? If Jag says this person is, took that draw, never paid, or whatever the case is, that now affects everybody. So we are holding everyone to a very, very high standard of fidelity and fiduciary responsibilities to make sure that we all can build this legacy together.
that is anything else, and we'll probably do something else on business credit too eventually, because I think that's important. But does anyone else have any questions regarding Plastiq and or the draw process? I mean, you guys asked most of those, but because I want to be mindful of your time, we're going over right now.
Before we get out of here, Alicia Wilson had a birthday recently, so let's make sure that we wish her a happy birthday.
Alicia, happy birthday.
Thank you, everyone.
Birthday.
Any questions before we get out of here? If not, feel free to send Myckelle a wonderful message in the blueprint. Make sure you let everybody know that missed this call, that they dropped the ball.
Yeah, I'm
So
I'll try to send it out. But thank you guys so much for coming on a Saturday. free time. I don't do stuff on Saturdays, just so you know. I usually, these are not within my business hours. Eric, he talks to people all week. For me, I'm like, business hours are Monday through Friday.
Okay.
From 9 to 6. So thank you guys for taking your time out and joining me. And we're going to have many, many more of these. So just look forward to learning. As you grow, we're all going to grow together. So let's grow.
See you guys all on the other side. Hopefully I'll see most of you guys in September. September 6th through the 8th, we have our next boots on the ground in Ohio. I know a lot of you guys are going to be there because most of you guys are closing on property. So I know I'm going to see Shelly. I know that for sure.
Closing on one too.
I know I'm going to see Myckelle and E. I know I'm going to see you guys. Hey, it's been fun. Congratulations to everyone. Again, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey.